Thanks for joining us for the news at 10. I'm Morgan Romero. Keeping Idaho's rivers and lakes safe for wildlife and people depends in part on wastewater treatment plants filtering out pollutants. But a recent report from a local environmental group found more than half of our facilities violated the federal government's Clean Water Act last year. Abby Davis looked into the report today. And Abby, what did you learn?
Well, the Idaho Conservation League publishes this study annually. This one was reported earlier this week. It covers the 520 violations from last year, so 2022. The Federal Clean Water Act requires sewage and water be cleaned and treated before going back into the environment. But Conservation League data shows 57% of Idaho's wastewater treatment facilities did not comply with the act in 2022. Conservation associate Will Tiedemann says those facilities released harmful bacteria, chemicals, or toxic metals. Most of the violations happened in relatively small rural communities.
And that's primarily due because to the lack of resource and funds that sometimes these rural communities have to addressing aging equipment or outdated facilities. It is difficult sometimes to find these resources for smaller cities, but nonetheless is an important part of the Clean Water Act to commit to your permit or comply with your permit.
Data shows 3 facilities in Driggs, Jerome, and Kuna made up a quarter of all the violations last year. KTVB reached out to the cities. In a statement, Jerome's superintendent said they have not experienced any more violations. He said, quote, "The wastewater staff takes permit violations very seriously, just like the Conservation League does." He continued to go on. Their goal is to make sure clean and safe water is provided for all downstream users. The other 2 cities, Driggs and Kuna, did not get back to us. I also contacted the Department of Environmental Quality about what sort of repercussions these facilities could face for violating the Clean Water Act, but did not hear back yet. Of course, the report does have some good news. The Conservation League says several facilities with previous violations, they actually cut back on the amount of pollutants getting released. Yeah, so some good news there, Morgan.
Yeah, and Abby, it's interesting to see how 3 facilities made up for the vast majority of these violations. Were there any others that caught your eye?
Yes, well, the report goes through all of these different statistics. They really focused on about 11 of them. So of these 57% of all of these wastewater facility treatments violating the Clean Water Act, it's really a small handful when you look at the grand scheme of things.
Okay, Abby, and of course, the nonprofit does provide a lot of recommendations to wastewater treatment staff and local leaders about what they can improve upon at their facilities. So the Conservation League is a resource for these places.
Yes, exactly right.
All right, Abby, thank you.